Hey everybody, this is Evan Rogers. As you can hear John breathing into his microphone, I'm coming at you with an online live lesson.
I am fat. I'm muting myself for the rest of this.
And we are on the third lesson that I'm making, but this is like the 12th. I think it's going to be the 12th actual lesson we've had, but this is like the third set lesson that I've made. This could be you. If you donate $5 or more each month at Patreon, it's the deal of the century. Well, maybe not century, but for Japanese, the century. And you get yourself some Japanese lesson with this bald son of a gun teaching you some language. So give it a shot. In the meantime, check out all those links I have in the doobly-doo to maybe buy some pens, because those pens are awesome. I don't know if anybody's actually tried to see them. They're great. That being said, we are going to go through just the beginning of drill 1. I call it drills, but they're kind of like conversations, but they're short, so they're drills. And then we're going to talk about all the linguistic-y term stuff that will scare everyone away. We're introducing a new important stuff, 2 new major grammatically linguistic-y type stuff this lesson. All right, are you 2 ready to go?
Yep.
Yay! I assume John's not actually going to mute himself the entire lesson. All right, here we go. Please repeat after me. Doa o akemashita ka?
Do o akemashita ka?
Akamashita.
Yeah. So we have some new vocabulary, obviously. Then the response is kesa akemashita.
Kesa
Kesa
akemashita.
akamashita.
Yeah, good. I just realized I didn't put the intonation in here. I'll have to fix that. So there'll be some changes later. So one more time. Doa o akemashita ka?
Doa
Doa
o
o
akemashita ka?
Yeah, great. Kesa akemashita.
Kesa akemashita.
Kesa.
Kesa.
Yeah, it's almost like cheese.
Akemashita. Ah.
Kayla.
Okay, so doa. Well, sorry, I missed something.
He's making fun of me.
Oh, well, when does he not do that? All right, we got doa. This is a katakana loanword. I think it might be our first one. Notice this is a noun. We're finally getting like legit nouns. Doa is a loan word. Notice how it's written in katakana. John's like, what are you talking about? What's katakana? And it means door. Doa, door, doa, door. Usually when they borrow a word, they use katakana to write it. So the door, doa. Then we have this O particle here, which we'll talk about later, but it just shows you this is the direct object. We'll talk about that later. Followed by the verb akemashita ka. And akemas means to open something. So since it's a question, we're going to translate it, did you open the door? Notice the mashita ending makes it past tense. Did you open the door? The response is We've seen that before. Correct. Kesa, this morning. We have an adverb telling us time. Kesa. Akemashita, I opened it. Or I guess I is implied, but we can put that in parentheses. This could easily be, did she open it this morning? Yes, she did. Or did Jimmy open it this morning? Yes, Jimmy did. All right, let's check out the next one. Mado o akemashita ka?
Mado.
Akemashita ka?
Yeah, good. Mado is a window. Whoop. You okay?
So that O is just O, right? O?
Yeah. It's not the O that's in the top row, a, e, u, o. It's a different O, and its sole function is to identify direct objects and a little bit of other stuff. But
I guess I can't remember how that one's pronounced more so. That's why.
You'll find it written in here, Romaji sometimes as W-O.
That's what I thought. Okay.
It's not pronounced wo. It's pronounced O. I think there used to be a W row, and then it just doesn't exist anymore.
Okay.
Like for example,
that's what I thought. That's what I thought I remembered it being like a whoa. That's why I was like, is that how do you?
Right.
And I couldn't remember how it was pronounced because it's been so long.
Yeah, I agree. I thought I remembered that too.
And notice how when I actually want to type to get it to appear, if you type O, you get the O. But if you type in W-O, that's how you get it on the keyboard, by the way.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
No problem. No, but yeah, that's a thing. For example, ya, you know the Yairo has ya, you, yo.
Mm-hmm.
There used to be a ye, and I'm not talking about
Oh.
Yeezy, who apparently is getting divorced, and there used to also be a yet. So
He was getting divorced.
yeah, apparently Kardashian finally got sick of him.
You know, it sucks because I don't know if I believe in true love anymore now.
It's funny. I was reading an article and it was like it lasted 6.5 years. While short, it lasted longer than most people expected. Anyway, sorry. One more time. Mado o akemashita ka?
Mado akemashita.
Akemashita.
Yeah, good.
Is there like you have to say motto o? Is that it?
Mado.
It's gonna be kind of slurred because it doesn't really. It's not gonna go mado o akemashita ka. It's gonna be mado. You can kind of hear a bounce right there. Mado o akemashita ka.
Motto. Okay.
I'm sure if I sat down and thought a little while, I could find an English equivalent. But just hopefully you can hear that little bounce right there. Mado.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mado.
Got it.
Kesa akemashita.
Kesa akemashita ka. Akemashita.
Oh,
There you go. You're
my
good.
God, how embarrassing!
I added a ka to it on accident.
Yeah, it's not a question.
Did you open the door? Yes. Did you open it this morning?
How embarrassing!
All right, we
I'm
have different
tired,
nouns, but we're not going to worry about that right now. We're going to talk about the grammatical aspect, the linguistic-y aspects. I'm calling this the language-related vocab. For everyone out there in YouTube, Sylvania, I have a series of videos entitled Fancy Language Words to help explain what all these really, you know, when you're learning a language and they're like, oh, this is the form of the verb. And you're like, what does that even mean? I like, then there's like, this is how you use it to express, and you're like, I don't know what any of this language means. I have, I think, 15 or so videos explaining specifically some of those terms. Okay. What's going to be important in this video is we're finally introducing tense, not the things that you use when you're camping. But this is tense. Now,
hold on, I had to unmute so I could laugh.
Oh, that joke sucked, Evan. Okay, so really quickly, this is never taught, but when we're talking about verbs, or usually with the verbs in a language, there's tense, there's aspect, and there's mood. Okay, there's tense, aspect, and mood. We haven't talked about aspect really, and we haven't talked about mood, but we're finally introducing tense. Okay, tense is the part of the verb generally that means when an event happened in relation to whatever the idea of now might be. You know, when you're telling a story and it's all past tense, that's actually the term they would use, past tense. So, however, sometimes in that story, it'll sound like it's not past tense occasionally because, quote unquote, the now time has changed, whatever the now is of the time. When you're talking to people, you might change when, quote unquote, now is. So even though it's in the future, you'll be using past tense and stuff like that. So one more time, it's when an event happened in relation to whatever now might be. It, for our purposes, does not mean a different form of the verb. You'll experience this a lot in English where they're like, oh, that's the blah, 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 blah tense. And then actually it's not a different time period. So that's an issue that might be happening. Like they'll say like the ing tense. It's like, oh, that's the ing tense. And you're like, that's not actually a tense of a verb. Because tense that we're using means specifically when an event happened in relation to now, okay? Tense changes when we're talking about an event or description taking place in the past, or maybe currently, or in the future, or even a habitual form, or even a habitual action. We could argue that that's right now, but really it's not, right? If you eat breakfast every morning, and it's the afternoon when you say that, you ate breakfast in the past, you will eat it in the future. Even though it's the afternoon, it's not really happening right now. Do you see how that works? Habitual, I eat breakfast every morning, is a separate tense from past, right now, and the future. English has a bunch of tenses because we also have like past, 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 future, and like future, past, future, future, and stuff like that. It's very annoying. Okay, rough English equivalent. Notice the difference between these sentences. She was my friend versus she is my friend. Do we see how there's a difference there? She was my friend. She is my friend.
Mm-hmm.
John's like, yep, cool. Okay, good. He actually did say yes. That would be a difference in tense. How about I'll go to the store tomorrow versus I've already gone to the store?
Yep.
Those two actions are incredibly similar, and yet the difference is when they occurred. Great, so that's our tense, okay? You're going to hear that term a lot, so get used to it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Subjects and direct objects. John, since you haven't really studied languages, does this sound like something weird, or do you kind of have a good idea of what these words mean?
Yeah.
Nah, okay, great.
He studied some like in like what, middle school or something, Russian and crap, but
Oh, did you ever listen to that guy talk about the machine?
We have had this conversation.
Oh, okay. Probably because
We
you
have,
mentioned
yeah.
Russian earlier, and that's the first thing that pops in my head when I hear somebody studying the Russian.
Honestly, I think that was the first lesson we talked about it for like 10 minutes.
Well, I've wasted 20 seconds of our lives that we'll never get back. Apologies.
Yeah, we can talk about the machine. I thought it was funnier now.
A sentence's subject is the thing that does the verb or that is described by the predicate. And then predicate's a fancy word we haven't talked about. Unfortunately, the best definition of a predicate is everything that isn't the subject. So that doesn't help us out. Everything that isn't the predicate is the subject, and everything that isn't the subject is the predicate. That doesn't really help us out that much. Yeah.
You've got a feel for it. Trust me.
You will.
I
Okay.
needed that. I didn't think I was going to make it.
Every sentence has a subject, even if it's not explicitly stated. So, for example, if I were to say to you, go to the store, who am I
I'm the
telling?
subject.
Exactly. The person I'm talking to is the one who will go to the store. So that makes you the subject, exactly. So the predicate would be everything that's not the subject. Everything that's not you is the predicate, which would be go to the store. That would be the predicate. What's going to the store? You. What is you doing? Going to the store. That's your subject-predicate relationship. Okay, now a direct object is the noun that the subject operates upon. So if I punch you in the face, I punch you in the face. Subject, punch you in the face is the predicate. I punch you in the face. That would be the object. That is the thing that is getting punched. That is what I'm operating upon. It's nice because operate starts with an O, and direct object has an O in it, and then the O particle is what identifies the direct object. So hopefully that'll help you remember it in the future.
Ooh, fancy. No, that's helpful.
I'm going to put on a top hat, a monocle, and a bow tie next time I try to explain that. So
Like
rough.
Mr.
Oh yeah,
Peanut?
go ahead. What's that, John?
Like Mr. Peanut?
Yes, although since they're canceling Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben, I'm afraid what's going to happen to Mr. Peanut. I don't know why.
Well, they
but...
already... No, they killed Mr. Peanut.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
I'm
last
allergic
Super Bowl.
to peanuts, so I.
Well, I know what I'm getting you for Christmas.
Soy milk. The dog ate the cat. Okay, so let's talk about subject and predicates. What ate the cat? The dog. That's the subject. What did the dog do? He ate the cat. That's the predicate. What did he eat? He ate the cat. That would be your direct object. The dog is what's eating, so it's the subject. And it operated upon the cat, which is the direct object. Okay? There should be a period there because I have good grammar.
You couldn't think of something better than a dog eating a cat?
What would you prefer him eating?
That's dark.
Honestly, for some reason...
You could have put the man ate the sandwich.
Yeah, but it's not as fun. Like, see how I'm getting a reaction from you? No, but legit, a lot of these sentences are the first stupid thing that comes into my mind. I'll be like, I don't know, the dog ate the cat, and I just write it down. I'm not even joking. Like, that was probably the first sentence that popped into my head.
Pretty dark, Dahmer.
Yeah. I don't have all those weird contorted statues in my house, I promise.
Yeah.
She sure
Amateur.
Amateur.
What's it? What do you stuff animals? I can't even think of it now.
Oh,
Taxidermy?
taxidermy.
Yeah, amateur taxidermy. He just swerves to hit squirrels on the road so he can take them home.
Yeah.
Okay, let him keep teaching us.
All those
I'm
5-year-olds
tired.
at home like, what? She sure is cute. All right, so the question is, what is cute? The answer is she. She is the subject. She is what sure is cute. That sentence is so stupid. She is what sure is cute, and thus she is the subject. There is no direct object. She is not operating upon an object, is she?
No.
She's not
Nope.
cuting anything. She's not suring anything, and she's not ising anything. Great. All right. That being said, let's move on to the next. This is the big daddy. I will eventually be able to speak. In the fancy language videos or fancy language words videos that I made, we talk about transitivity more in depth. Transitivity is very important in Japanese, and it also has the potential for many off-colored jokes that I will try to avoid.
I wasn't gonna.
Just so that we know, the word trans, or the I guess prefix trans, is when there's at least one thing and there's a second thing, and they're separated by something, and you cross over. So a transatlantic flight is when there's a continent, and you trans over the Atlantic. Other words that have the word trans in them are also something we could talk about, but let's not go in there. So that's what transitivity is. There's two things, and you're operating across the gap upon each other. So a transitive verb is where the subject of the sentence operates on an object, okay? So
Yes.
when there is a direct object, you have a transitive verb, okay?
Yes.
Now, the catch is that there's intransitive verbs. These verbs are where the subject of the sentence simply does the verb without operating upon an object. Examples. I shut the door. Notice that I is operating upon the door, right? So shut is a transitive verb. There are two things and there's an action crossing over, okay?
Yes.
This door shuts. For example, maybe you have some rusted up doors in the barn out back where you're hitting squirrels. But this door shuts. The other ones don't shut. This door shuts, right?
Yes.
Notice that this door does not operate upon anything. Shut is an intransitive verb. So even though both of these are shut, one of them is transitive and one of them is intransitive.
Okay.
Just to make sure that we hate English, this door is shut. I put this here simply to point out that English is annoying. Shut here is not actually a verb. It's actually an adjective. The door is being described as shut, correct? So it describes the door after after a copula. So a copula, you could argue that it is a verb, but let's not get into that. It's depending on, we could argue it, but really it's not. It's an adjective.
Your notes actually say that at the bottom. Well, let's not get into that.
Well, whatever
like you said that as you highlighted, but let's not get into that. It's not important in Japanese.
Oh, that's very true. It's not important in Japanese. Whenever I try to make statements like this on Reddit in that Learn Japanese subreddit, and I'm like, just think of it this way. This is how it is. Like, there's 90 people that downvote me and say, no, what about this? And I'm like, dude, it's not important to the conversation.
Your little disclaimer, but let's not get into that. Have you ever watched Airplane?
Yeah, I forget the scene that you're talking about, though.
We need to get these people to a hospital. What is it? Well, it's a place where you take 6 people, but that's not important right now.
Yeah, exactly. My favorite scene in Airplane was when there's the two black guys spitting jive at each other, and then the lady goes, "Oh,
excuse me, I speak jive." Mama Gemma. Yeah. Oh my god.
That was one of the best scenes in all of cinema history.
Yes.
All right. You could not make that movie today, unfortunately.
You couldn't make that or anything by Mel Brooks today.
It's springtime for Hitler in Germany.
Oh my god.
All right. Now that we're canceled off of YouTube,
I'm okay with it.
take your time reading these and going over them. Don't worry too much about the conversations yet, or even the vocab for that matter. I want you to understand these terms very much: tense, what a subject is, what a direct object is, and transitive versus intransitive. This one is very important. This is not that important in English, at least not to native speakers. We kind of don't even notice it's a thing. Whereas transitivity is very important in Japanese because it changes what particles we use. Subjects and direct objects also differentiate between what particles we're going to use. And then tense is a new thing that we're going to be agglutinating for. All right. I will see you guys on Monday.
All right, we'll be
Sounds
here.
good.
Peace out. Have a great day. Have a
Bye.
good weekend.
You too. Bye.
You too. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye. If you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you like, subscribe, and share this video to everybody you know and yell at them repeatedly until they subscribe as well. If you'd like to support me even more, head on over to patreon.com, where for just $1 a month, 3 cents a day, that's it, it's darn near free, you can help me financially keep these videos coming. And as a reward for your Patreon donations, you get access to all of the miscellaneous things that I produce to help out my own students who I teach in person, and also just things that I make for myself. And if you want a little bit more bang for your buck, head on over to Teespring, where you can get lots of fun clothing, mugs, stickers, cell phone cases, all that I've designed. More designs to come. I hope you have yourself a happy dappy day. Peace out.